Okay, so we at Abhinav Public School believes in the holistic development of the child. We aim to make our child self-reliant and independent. We always focus on imbibing core values such as hard work, consistency, patience, and love among the students. Our main aim is the overall development of the child. We impart knowledge through experiential learning methodologies. So today I would welcome all the parents and students for this webinar. Annan is a social NGO. It has been working as a catalyst in bringing holistic health solution for sustainable livelihood with primary focus on physical and mental health awareness among children, adolescents, youth, teachers, and parents. So I would like to welcome all of you for this wonderful webinar. So now I would like to introduce Ms. Deepa Chaudhary, Vice President of Annan. She is a self-directed, motivated, and action-oriented professional. Your presence has always been very delightful, ma'am. It is a pleasure to have you here. The webinar will be conducted by Mr. Tarun Valecha, who is a health and fitness expert. Welcome, sir. Mr. Tarun Valecha is a sports enthusiast and architect by profession. He has been running over for 9 years and has participated in 49 half marathons and 8 full marathons. He has formed a group by a name of Run Extreme to promote running and healthy lifestyle. Now I would like to request Ms. Deepa to take over the session, please. Ma'am, please.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such a lovely introduction. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome, Tarun sir. So today our topic of discussion is lifestyle management. How well we should manage our lifestyle so that we have a healthier mind as well as physically and mentally both we are healthy. So my philosophy is that not only are we responsible for our own life, but doing the best at this moment puts you in the best place for the next moment. So all the children, for you especially, it is very necessary to understand the importance of having a healthy lifestyle. Okay, so health is not something that which we can invent. It is not just an idea, so health is life happening well. If you allow life to function fully, then it is healthy. So today I would like to just address some questions to Tarun sir. So Tarun sir, there are many, during many sessions, students have we have come across many questions and queries which the students keep asking us, and you being such a sports enthusiast and a fitness freak, I would like to just ask you some questions that if you could just share some of your experiences and throw some light on how we can cultivate a morning regime to have a healthy lifestyle.
Thank you very much, Deepa. Thank you, everyone. And it's a pleasure to be here, particularly talking to the children, because I think any time, any effort invested or spent with our children is the best thing one can do in life. So I, at any given opportunity, I like to just grab such moments where I can speak to the young ones and, share my experiences and my thoughts. Of course, they will make their own opinions and they will have their own experiences. But to be able to share our thoughts, I think that's the best thing we can do with them. So coming to what you were just talking about, time management and how productive we can make, very simple thing that, in schools we teach that man is a social animal, so every act of ours has a very direct impact on the society, on people around us, and in return on the life we live. Most often we have complaints that something is not happening in life, something is not happening in society. We must understand it is us who are the starting point of everything that happens around. So whatever good we want to see, it has to start from us. And to be able to do good, first of all, what we need to do, we need to streamline our own life. Now, it actually sounds an extraordinary act that we have to do when we say lifestyle management. Whereas this is something very simplistic and very basic need of a human existence. हम जब अपनी लाइफ में जीने के लिए बहुत ही नॉर्मल चीजें करते हैं जिन्हें हम नॉर्मल मानते हैं कि हमें खाना खाना है, हमें सोना है, इन्हीं चीजों को अगर हम कायदे से करें, we put them in a routine, we do not only benefit from their direct advantage, but our overall life starts improvising in its own ways. It is an effort for us to, if it is a simple thing like, eating a meal. Now, it takes an effort for somebody to cook the meal for us. It takes an effort for us to eat it. But if the same thing does not happen at the right time, the effort that is put into it will remain the same, but the advantage that we will get from it will reduce. So what we are doing is we are losing on a certain effort that we put in. So the point I'm trying to make here, it is not an extraordinary thing that we need to do about lifestyle management, but as a basic ritual of our daily existence, we must put in a system to everything that we do so that we can benefit to the maximum, whether it is sleeping in time, whether it is waking up in time, whether it is approaching a task we are given, whether it is going to school, whether it is doing your homework. Anything that we do at the correct time and at a designated time will always yield us more benefit. On the contrary, supposingly a small thing like doing a homework, if a child keeps delaying doing a homework and he or she is then constrained for time, in the evening they want to maybe watch some TV, then they are not able to watch TV because they have to do the homework, or they have to eat their food quickly because they have to quickly fit in the time to finish the homework, or after the dinner then they have to sit and work because they can't go to sleep without finishing the homework, or tomorrow the teacher will be upset in the class. So if only we try to put everything in an order, we put everything at a designated time slot, we will be able to achieve more. And that is what is very important for all the children to understand and try it out. Deepa ma'am, I think you are on mute.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for your insight. So I would ask you one more question related to this, that the mind is truly like any other muscle. I have read it so many times that it is like any other muscle. You use it or you lose it. So
True.
we have to work upon our mind. So
Yes.
how can we be the masters of our mind and improve its performance by following a routine, maybe a physical fitness routine, or some routine to make our mind more healthy and be more active?
So I'll break this thing of your question into two parts. First of all, we will try to understand about the mind. There is no doubt the mind is a very, very immensely powerful tool. Immensely powerful tool. And the best thing is that we all are blessed with it. It is entirely up to us how we use it, how do we bring it to our own benefit. Like they say that what your mind can think, your body can achieve. And on the other side of it, the moment your mind tells you you cannot do it, your body will give up. So as a sports person, if I can tell you, is that there are so many times on the field that we feel that there is something which is not possible. There is something, oh, I'm not able to achieve it. So if our mind accepts right in the beginning that this is something which is beyond my reach, then we close all the doors of the possibility on ourselves. So the mind is such a potent tool. And the good thing is that the ability to control the mind also lies with us. It is how we believe in ourselves, how badly we want something. In so many examples around us, in stories, in movies, we see these examples, in real life characters. There are kids here, I'm sure they must be watching a lot of cricket. Cricket is our national game unofficially. And, everybody in India watches cricket. So when you're watching a game of cricket, you will see if a team is losing the match and there'll be two people on the crease, they will hang in there and they will somehow hold on to the situation, and eventually they become the winners. So till the time your mind believes in something, I'm not saying that everything in life is achievable. There will be failures in life. But if you attempt for something, if you try and then you fail, it is still an acceptable situation. But if you give up before trying, then you have failed yourself. Then you cannot tell anybody. There will always be an opponent in situations where either you win or you lose. But if you lose without trying, that is a bigger loss. So the second part of it, what you were saying about physical activities and all, I have somehow, fortunately had the opportunity of being very actively into sports. Somehow I was always supported by my family and my parents and my brothers and everybody. And perhaps because I could manage my studies also very well, getting good marks always helped and they would not complain as much. So I could give a good amount of time to my sports and to my studies as well. Which again, perhaps I could also take some credit because I wanted to do both. So my mind made me, understand that how do I have to create that balance? If I would put my mind entirely to sports, then your mind gets restricted and you don't want to put your heart into studies. So with sports, any kind of physical activity, we know the biological studies which have proved it, that it keeps you mentally agile, it keeps you physically active. And if you're mentally agile and physically active, the same positive aspects will be reflected in your studies also. You will be able to understand better, you will be able to study better. But what I want to highlight here is a lot of unseen benefits that we get from sports. Because there are a lot of, like I said, unseen. By that I mean psychological benefits that one gets. Sports, when a person is out playing a sport, he's playing with a certain set of people around. So that helps them learn the teamwork, that helps them learn how to coexist. So these are the social skills one improves. And then the sense of achievement that comes when you win a game. And when you lose a game, the ability to handle the loss. And that is where your mind becomes stronger, that you learn to come back and then win again. Now, I very strongly believe that success is very nice. Success feels very good. But a failure teaches us more than success. Because success kind of closes our mind and it tells us that, okay, I've achieved it and that is all that matters. But a failure helps us go back and relook at what we have not done. A failure helps us work harder. I know it can be demotivating sometimes, but that's where we need help to understand that no success is the end, no failure is the end of story. There is always a way to come back and learn more from your failure. Like we all know the famous story of Thomas Edison when he was making the bulb. You know, I think he tried making the bulb about 200 times or something. I don't recall the exact number. So after that, he was asked that, oh, you failed 200 times. He said, no, it was a 200-step process to make the right one. So had he not made the mistakes, he probably would have never made the final bulb. Had he given up at one point in time, even if it was 199th time, that, okay, I cannot make the bulb, or maybe making the bulb is not possible. But he believed in himself and he kept on trying till he reached the success. So that is why I feel failure is a much better teacher than success.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, and these days, one of the most, I think, the relevant questions which all the students as well as teachers must be, in a dilemma to ask, that how does excessive technology use increase the risk of physical issues? Because by choice or maybe through pressure, we are indulging into excessive technology use. Sometimes it is on the gaming platform, sometimes on learning, but there is excessive use of technology. So how does it affect our health?
Ma'am, I feel that this is a challenge which every generation has faced. And every generation in their own means has come with the enormity of it, and it has felt bigger than before. I remember when I was a child, that time these video games, the Atari video games had come in. And my parents used to be very upset that all that we are doing is all the time sitting on the video games and playing those video games. There is no doubt there has been an exponential growth. And nowadays the opportunities are far more easily accessible, and they are in abundance. What I very strongly believe is that everything comes with a benefit. Everything is designed for a purpose, which in some way is with a positive purpose. What's very important is that as teachers, and I'm specifically mentioning this because I think a lot of it depends upon us as parents and as teachers, that how do we expose our children to the technology and to everything around. Technology is basically knowledge. When we see everything around us, the simplest of the thing is internet. Internet has been a technological, mammoth scale of information that comes to us. It is unimaginable. Today, from our times when everything that you needed, you would go into your storeroom and take out the newspapers of last 1 month and keep flipping through it for 2 days and try to find a small article. Today, all you need to do is pick up your phone, type into the Google bar, and you get the information. So there is no doubt that technology is to our benefit. So what we need to make our children understand, and our children need to learn this, that how to use these for our benefit. Our times were different. We would wait on a Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock to watch Chitrahar. We would wait for a Sunday for one movie to come, and sometimes the movie will be a repeat, we will still watch it. Today, these channels are available to us 24 hours, and not one channel, like there are 10,000 channels. You don't even have to wait for a channel. You can just pick up YouTube and see a TV series or something. You can log on to Netflix. So the point I'm trying to make, that our times, these distractions were still there, but they were restricted. Today, we have all this lying there. What we need to teach our children, and what our children need to understand, is what is important for them, that all this is lying here. What am I supposed to pick from here and use it for what purpose? There are a lot of instances that we hear that parents try to control our children by closing down the opportunities on them. Now, I think I understand, I mean, they may have their reasons, but I very strongly believe that it is very important that we make our children independent and free thinking. So if I close an opportunity on them, say if I tell them you will not use this laptop in the house, they may find some other opportunity to do it in somebody else's house, or they may sneak in a iPad under their bed and start watching it. Now, that is where we need to build the character for the children. Technology is must, because today, the age that we are living in, if they do not learn to use the technology, in tomorrow's time, they will be incapacitated. They will be handicapped. They will not know what to do because everybody around them will be using the technology. So we have to expose them to technology, but we also have to expose them to the rights and wrongs in it, to the benefits that it brings in, and to the damage it does in excessive use. So if they understand that, yes, I have a social media handle, which I can use to meet my friends and family, which is good. But if I keep spending my time on the Facebook all the time, if I keep spending my time on some kind of a chatting platform all the time, I'm only wasting my time. So it's a very fine balance as parents and as students both. Children have to understand the benefits of it. Parents have to explain the right benefits of it, and teachers as well, so that they are not restricted to use it, but they learn to use it to their benefit and not indulge into it. So this is a two-way process, I very strongly believe, and I would not hold children singularly responsible. I think we both have an equal role to play in this.
Thank you, sir. Sir, and the most major problem these days is the eating habits of the children. I think all the parents are too disturbed, as well as the teachers also try their level best to tell the children to adhere to a healthy eating routine. So there is also what kind of a health risk these young children face with the wrong eating habits. And there are many children who sit up late at night, so they have this major question in their mind that should I eat late at night or should I wait until the next morning? What kind of a food we should eat so that we are healthy? They are always attracted towards junk food. So I would really love you to just throw some light on what should be a healthy eating habit for these children.
Deepa ma'am, this is one of my favorite topics to talk about. And frankly, I could talk for 3-4 hours on this, but I'll try to remain as concise as possible. And once again, before I say anything, I would say this is a two-way process which we need to deal with. I am a parent myself. I have 2 children. My kids are grown up now. And I have been through the same process as these young children of not eating properly, not eating what parents are giving you, or hiding your food, or throwing it away. Unfortunately, this was the process that I went through to learn. But the good thing is that, yes, I did learn my lesson. And I did try to use it to the benefit of my children. And that is why I said this is where parents and teachers have a role to play. What children need to understand is that food is a basic necessity. Without food, we cannot survive. And what parents need to understand is that children have, not just because of their age, but the biological needs that they have, they are ignorant to them. So we need to play a role. I am sure all the teachers here and parents, they are parents also, they must be putting in a lot of effort with the children, their own children, and in school to make people eat. What happens is that this awareness has to be created. Unless we eat the right food at the right time, we will not, our body, it's a simple thing. Our body is like, if we look at it like an engine, it's like a car that we look at. if we do not fuel it at the right time, it will not work. If we only fuel it once the petrol is over, we will have to push it for a little while, take it to the petrol pump and then put in the petrol. Now, children sometimes don't understand, also because as kids, our bodies are more active and agile, and somehow they don't realize the loss of energies and all. So we as parents need to work, because food as a fuel has to be induced in our bodies at regular intervals. It has to be induced at the right time. I mean, a lot of parents also have this habit of taking snacks at the wrong time, and what we typically call the evening munches. Like I said, that this is what our body needs. That this is the most typical example of a lot of us going wrong in our eating habit, is that we eat something junk in the evening. Now, why is that? Come to think of it, why is that a common problem? It is a common problem because it is a common need. So all of us require a certain amount of energy. You've had your lunch, and by the time the evening comes, your body is depleting in resources. It is depleting in its sugar level, and our body starts craving for something, some additional fuel. And unfortunately, what we do, we provide it with an unhealthy fuel, which could be a snack or a fried snack or something. So we get immediate energy and we feel good about it, but it does more damage to us. Similarly, for children also, they need to understand that when they are craving to eat something sweet, it is actually because their body is low on energy. So that is why this biological craving comes in. And that craving has to be satiated. So that's where the parents' role come in, that they provide them meals on time. They provide them right kind of meal substitute, knowing that, okay, this child has had a break for about 4 hours, so he must have some fruit or something to eat. Otherwise, the body will start craving and they will go and drink Coke, or they will go and pick up a chocolate. So a lot of the responsibility lies with the parents and teachers. And as children, they need to be conscious. We must understand that what we eat is what we become. So if we start eating all this junk food, it will make us happy because it is all sugar loaded. It will really create that happiness in our body and in our senses. But then it doesn't give us any nutritional benefit. So children, yes, have to practice these things. And as parents and as teachers, we have to consciously make them aware, make them understand that these are the things they need to take care of, and they need to eat on time, and they need to eat right.
Okay, thank you, sir, for your beautiful insights. Sir, can you just throw some light on the current situation of COVID-19? How is it affecting the mental and physical health of our youngsters? So what solution can you give them?
Ma'am, this COVID-19 has obviously been a very unusual and unforeseen situation. Right from the day it started, it has thrown our lives into a very uncertain situation. Nobody knew when the first lockdown came in, how long will it last? We were told 21 days, and then it went on to increase by another month, and so on and so forth. And even now, we don't know when the situation will get normal. To the benefit of all, I would say that yes, it is very difficult for all of us. And I think the children are going through it most because they are not in control of things at all. As adults, we still are in control of situation a bit, and we are responsible towards it. This uncertainty creates a lot of negativity in our mind. We as adults are not sure that how our work schedules are happening. When will life situation get normal? When will we get to do things in a normal way? When the work situation will get normal? Children are also going through a lot of trauma. What we don't need to appreciate is that going to school, playing with their friends, and all of this was a part of a very positive existence, you know. So we, as I said, I'm just repeating here, as adults, we are able to identify it. So we still sometimes talk to our friends, we still get on the Zoom calls to meet relatives or whatever, but children are really being isolated and they are going through a lot of mental constraints. Now, what is very important here is to understand that this vacuum that has been created, we need to fill it with positivity. And how do we fill it with positivity is that we try to create goals for it. We try to create landmarks we want to achieve. So children can do a lot of things. They can do, besides small entertainments, which just are momentarily pleasures, they can do things like, okay, they buy a book of puzzle, that I will do these puzzles, I will finish this book of puzzles. They can look up online for these. Now, in fact, I like to go back to your question of technology. See, technology here is coming to such big help that today we are talking here with so many students and us interacting at the drop of our finger. Now, this is where technology has been a bliss. Today, if I remember, I used to do a lot of Sudoku. So I had to wait every week because only Saturday Times used to carry one Sudoku puzzle. So every week I used to wait for that Sudoku puzzle. Now today, if you want to do Sudoku, you just open the app on your phone and you get one problem after another. Now these are the opportunities which children have for them. They have to learn to use the technology to their benefit. That, okay, I can get some positively interactive games on the laptop that I can play with, and that can help me. There are a lot of word games. So they can improve their vocabulary. If somebody is interested in science, they have quizzes available related to science. So we have ample amount of opportunities. What is very important is that we do not let this uncertainty build on us. Of course, we don't know how long this will last. So we can create small goals that, okay, these 15 days, I will achieve this. If the situation remains the same, next 15 days, I will try to achieve something more. So we have to create, number two, we have to make positive changes in our life. Number two, we have to create a sense of achievement. So creating such goals for them where they can, from week to week, they can develop new skills. Nowadays, there are so many online courses available. So children who are in 11th and 12th, for them, it's a great opportunity to do these courses where they can enhance their knowledge, not only to the specific subjects that they're reading, to their additional skills. So I think it is very important that let us not look at this as an adversity. Let us look at this as an opportunity. Through this adversity, we have all the time to be at home. We don't have to waste our time traveling anywhere. So use that time to a positive use, a beneficial use, and try to enhance your skill sets.
Yes, I can see so many messages of students who are, sir, actually agreeing with all the solutions you are giving. I'm so happy, children, you are all understanding and just try to apply what all sir is trying to tell you. So
Yes,
now, sir, going now in a little bit of different direction, like we said about the importance of having a routine in life and healthy eating habits. So many times students come to us and tell us that, ma'am, we want to have a routine, we want to have a healthy lifestyle, but there is some amount of peer pressure which just stops them, or it just is an obstacle to them in following a healthy lifestyle. So like, can you tell us some solutions how they can cope up with all this peer pressure they are facing?
First of all, the biggest thing I like to tell them, that the peer pressure that they're talking about is not from their peers, it's from themselves. If you believe in doing something, if you believe that what you are doing is right, then the peers around you will feel pressure to do it right looking at you. So instead of you succumbing to what others are doing, there's a very famous old story which we had in school, and I don't know if it is still in the textbook, of Tom Sawyer. That how Tom Sawyer was asked to paint the fence, and very smartly he just stood outside and he happily started painting. And then one friend came and she said, "Oh, what are you doing? Why don't you come and play?" He said, "No, no, I'm just enjoying painting my fence." She said, "Oh, let me paint it too." So peer pressure is what we see as. Peer pressure is nothing that anybody is doing to us. It is our own ability, our own mind, how we let that affect us. If we believe in what we are doing, if I feel and understand that it is right to eat food, because if I'm eating the right food, it's me who's benefiting, not my friends. So I should be creating the pressure on them because I am more knowledgeable here. They are the ignorant ones. So instead of me, who's using my mind to feel pressure by those who are not, is the dichotomy. We have somebody who feels and understands that I'm eating the right food, I'm making these right changes in my life, should be able to with confidence tell others. Because when you start eating right, the simplest of the thing, like I said, you become what you eat. So when you start eating right, your mind, your body starts responding to it. And your food habits become right, your physical habits become right by itself. Your food habits become right, your mind becomes more active. So these changes, when you feel and you experience and you tell others, that is when others also will start understanding. And it will be unfortunate if they don't understand, but that doesn't mean you start falling for it. So at least we should use our knowledge to our benefit.
Thank you, sir, for such inspirational words. I am sure all the children will benefit quite a lot from this. So I request the admin to please unmute all the students. And if there are any more questions which you feel you have to personally ask, you are free to ask children or teachers any queries or any takeaways which you have from this session today, which you feel were the strongest points and which you will adhere to. You can just write in the chat box or can just share with us by unmuting yourself. Any questions, ma'am, students? You want to ask, sir? You are free to ask.
Or if they have any question in the chat, we can address them.
Right now, sir, they have really appreciated your insights and your teachings to them. So beautiful messages they have sent.
Thank you. Yeah, I read some of them.
Is extremely powerful. Setting the right example for the right thing is extremely important. I feel they have really listened carefully to what you told them. So are there any questions? I would like admin to please unmute everyone so that they are free to ask questions. Yeah, Sonal ma'am, if you could just request your students or maybe teachers if they want to ask.
Teachers, yes, ma'am. Teachers and students, if you have any queries, any doubts, you can ask sir. Sir is there to help you out with. If you have any kind of questions regarding this topic, health issues, any topic, you can ask sir.
No, ma'am, no doubt.
No, ma'am.
I believe, ma'am, that all the students are very happy. I hope.
I'll be happy if the teachers would also have, because I think
told you. That's so nice. There is one question, sir. Due to lockdown, many people have no work to do and they gain more weight nowadays. So, what is the solution for it? And they want to be fit. So, the solution is only exercise.
Well, this is a very common problem, and I understand. But as you also rightly said, this lockdown has kind of just thrown our schedules out of the window. But then the good thing, as I said, we need to, at any point in time, I want to give an example of uh, our latest cricketer who just retired,
MS Dhoni.
MS Dhoni.
Yeah.
So, to all the children, I want to say, staying positive and believing in yourself and telling yourself what you want to do is possible is so important. Um these kids may not be probably old enough to have watched the 2011 World Cup match. Now, I just want to quickly tell that story. In 2011 World Cup, India was playing against Sri Lanka in the finals. So, as we all know, it was a final, and final match is always a very high pressure game, and it was being held in India. So, it was all the more pressure, and India was under immense pressure to win because they had not won the World Cup. They had reached the final after, I think, about 8 years, and they had not won the finals since 1983. So, we all know that when there is a match, there are predictions. So, before the match started, the first prediction was that whoever wins the toss, he should go and bat first. So, and they were saying whoever bats first will win the World Cup. So MS Dhoni came to the crease, and Kumar Sangakkara was the Sri Lankan captain, and the referee threw the coin. MS Dhoni called the toss, and MS Dhoni won the toss. So the umpire said, "Okay, you won the toss." The crowd started cheering for MS Dhoni. You know what Sangakkara said? Sangakkara said, "Sorry, I didn't hear it, so I do not accept this toss." Now imagine Dhoni was under so much pressure, and he had won the toss, which was so important for him to win. And the moment Sangakkara said, "No, I don't accept the toss," he said, "Never mind, you toss it again." So next time the umpire threw the coin, this time Dhoni lost the toss. And Sangakkara won the toss. And quickly Sangakkara said, "We will bat." Everybody said, "Oh my God, what has happened? They will lose the match now." And Dhoni quietly shook hands and he said, "Okay, congratulations and good luck." And he just left the thing and came back for the fielding. Now, this was the confidence and belief in himself. This is where you set your mind to do what you want to do. Now, this is not all. When India came to bat in the second inning, everybody said if India has to win, Tendulkar has to play well and Sehwag has to play well. Sehwag got bowled in first over. Tendulkar got out in third over. So in first 3-4 overs, both the best batsmen were back into the pavilion. This is where your belief plays a role. Everybody knows that we won the World Cup and we know how. So what I'm trying to tell you again here, that every time in life, there will be a situation where you may think that now it is not possible. But if you hold your belief, maybe it will not be possible, but if you give it a try, it might just become possible. Like they say, you win all the matches which you don't play. So if you do not go out to play, you will lose anyways. You have to give your best. That is what is important. So do not lose before losing. That is the key. Today, there is a situation in COVID. You are all at home. Use this as an opportunity. Use that extra time to do some extra activity. You can go out. You can play more. Playing is very important. It's not that all the time you have to keep studying. Go out, play more. Go for a morning walk. Go for a little game of cricket or a little football or something. I used to play football till the age of 30. So you can imagine, I used to come back from my office, quickly be at home, leave my bag and everything and rush to the field and I would have already spoken to my friends, वो मुझे एक टीम में डाल के रखते थे and मैं जाके खेलना शुरू कर दूँ. So it is about how you want to do what you want to do. If there is a will, trust me, there will always be a way. But if you decide in your mind that it is not possible, nobody on this face of earth can do it for you. It is you and only your own mind that will help you do something.
Thank you so much, Tarun sir, for such motivational words for the children. I am sure all these children will be motivated enough and start working on their physical and mental health now. So I would request all the students and teachers to just give one line of the best thing of the takeaways from this session which you've had. You can just type it in the chat box for us.
And if you are bored, you can write that also, so that I'll understand where did I go wrong.
No, sir, I think you didn't the best.
No, I very strongly believe, and I like children to know that always in life be open to criticism. It is always nice to hear praises and good words, but if you can accept criticism, you will always grow in life, because the criticism is the key to growth.
That's very true, sir. Thank you, Tarun sir. So in the end, I would also like to thank Miss Ritu Agarwal. Sonal ma'am, is she here?
Yes, ma'am, she is here.
Okay, Ritu ma'am, I would really like to thank you for coordinating with Anon Global Foundation. And I believe she is a dedicated principal and has a determination to discipline her students and help her students with these sessions on life skills with us, and help them to become better citizens in the future. So thank you, Ritu ma'am, for coordinating with Anon Global Foundation. And thank you all the students and all the parents and teachers for attending the session. And a very happy Ganesh Chaturthi to all of you as well.
Thank you very much, Deepa ma'am, and thank you all the teachers for bearing with me, and for the children to sit here and talk. I know how it is in school, you know, when you are in a hall and somebody is speaking, you can still run away and not come back, but here you had to sit in front of the screens, so one could not even run away and you had to listen to me. I hope you all found it a little useful, and I hope that this will come to your good, and wishing you all the best in life. And thank you very much again.
Thank you so much, Deepa ma'am. Thank you, Tarun sir.
Thank you, sir.
Indeed, an enlightful session. We learned a lot from this session. I offer my heartfelt gratitude to the parents and students who took out their precious time for this wonderful webinar. The two-way communication has really made this webinar really interesting. Thank you, Anand Global Foundation, and special thanks to Mr. Tarun Valecha and Deepa ma'am for giving us the amazing tips on health and fitness. It is surely going to benefit all of us.
I would like to give one more tip. As sir told you all, now you can go out and play, but please follow the rule of SMS, as I think we have already taken a session with you all. You have to wear a mask and go out, sanitize, mask, and stay safe, please. Okay? So remember these things, and then you are free to go out, not in the crowd, but go out and play somewhere where there is minimum people and minimum crowd. Don't forget this, children. Your safety comes first.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.